I want to start with a scenario that sounds a little like the beginning of a psychological thriller.
Okay, I'm listening.
Imagine you're sitting across from a new coworker, and this person is brilliant.
Mm.
I mean, they've essentially read every book in the Library of Congress, they've memorized the entire internet,
Right.
and they can type faster than anyone you've ever met. They don't sleep, they don't take coffee breaks, and they never, ever complain.
Sounds like the employee of the month.
You would think so. But here's the catch. This coworker is prone to lying confidently.
Ah.
And not just small lies. We're talking massive, elaborate fabrications. And the weirdest part, they've never actually lived a day as a human. They don't understand what truth even means.
It sounds like a sci-fi setup, but you're basically describing the average Tuesday for anyone using ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini right now.
Exactly. And that's what we're unpacking today. We are doing a deep dive into co-intelligence by Wharton professor Ethan Mollick. And the core argument here is, well, it's unsettling. He argues that we aren't just using a fancy calculator or better version of Google. We're interacting with an alien mind.
Alien mind is exactly the right phrase. Mollick's work is so fascinating because he's one of the few academics really testing these tools in the wild, not just theorizing.
Right.
And his conclusion is that most of us, we're using them completely wrong. We treat them like search engines. You ask a question, you expect a fact. But that's the least interesting and frankly the most dangerous way to use them.
We treat it like a vending machine. Input query, dispense answer.
Yeah.
But the mission of this deep dive is to get past that. We want to understand the 4 rules Mollick lays out for actually living and working with a co-intelligence. Because the stakes are surprisingly high.
They really are.
I was looking at the productivity numbers in the source material, and I have to be honest, my skepticism radar went off.
Okay, I can see why.
We're seeing studies showing these knowledge-intensive roles, consultants, coders, business analysts, getting a 40 to 60% productivity boost.
Right. I mean, that sounds inflated, doesn't it? Usually software gives you, what, 5%?
It does sound like hype. I completely agree. But these are controlled studies, and that's what makes this moment so different. We're not talking about automating simple, repetitive tasks.
No.
We're talking about creative, analytical, human work. The takeaway from the research isn't that AI replaces the human. It's that the human using AI runs laps around the human who refuses to use it.
It's the difference between walking and...
And driving a Ferrari, exactly. It's about becoming what Mollick calls a centaur, half human, half machine.
Yeah.
But before we can even get to that, or the rules, we have to deal with this alien mind concept.
Yeah.
Because if you don't understand what you're talking to, you are going to get bad results.
I think this is where a lot of people get stuck. We anthropomorphize it, we think it's a person, or, on the flip side, we think it's a data cunts.
Exactly.
But the sources highlight this paper from Google back in 2017 with a title that sounds like a Beatles song. Attention is all you need. That paper is the genesis point for everything we're seeing today. It gave us the transformer architecture. That's the T in GPT.
Right.
Before that, computers were terrible at language because they looked at words in isolation. Attention allowed the model to look at a whole sentence or a paragraph and understand the relationship between all the words.
So it's understanding context.
In a way, but, not how we understand it. It understands the mathematical probability of words appearing near each other, which leads to the most important analogy in Mollick's book for how these things think.
The robot in the jungle.
The robot in the jungle. Imagine a robot exploring this massive, dense jungle.
I love this visual because it explains the weirdness of the answers. So the jungle is all human knowledge, right? Or at least all the text on the internet.
Exactly. The robot's job is to get from your question point A to an answer point B. But because it has crunched so much data, it doesn't always take the paved road.
It goes off path.
It slashes through the underbrush, it finds these scenic shortcuts, it maps territories of language and logic that we didn't even know were connected.
But here's the catch, and this is the alien part. The robot doesn't actually know what the jungle is. It just knows the map.
Precisely. That is all it's doing. Predicting the next word. It consumes billions of sentences to learn which words are statistically likely to follow each other. So it's not thinking, it's just rolling the dice on the most probable next token.
Which explains the hallucinations. The sources use this great phrase, the navigator with no photos.
It's a perfect fit. Think about it like this. Imagine a tour guide. who has memorized every map, every travel blog, every novel ever written.
Okay.
They can describe the Eiffel Tower to you in poetic detail because they know the pattern of how people describe it. They know about the iron lattice, the lights, the view.
But they've never actually stood there.
They don't have a photo in their pocket. They've never seen it. So if you ask, is there a statue of a chimera on the third tier? And the pattern vaguely associates statues with old French buildings.
They might just make it up.
They'll confidently say, yes, absolutely, right next to the observation deck.
So it's not lying to deceive you. It's just completing a pattern to make it plausible.
Right. It's optimizing for plausibility, not for truth. It's trying to give you an answer that looks like the right answer.
Which is terrifying if you're using it for, say, legal research or medical advice.
It is disastrous if you use it for facts without checking. But here's the nuance. That same ability to hallucinate is what allows it to be creative.
Ah, I see.
If it only stuck to hard facts, it couldn't write a poem or brainstorm a new product. It would just be Wikipedia. We want the creativity, we just have to manage the lying.
So we have a pattern-matching alien that wants to be creative. But the sources also mention it has a specific personality. They called it a people-pleasing puppy.
It is a very, very accurate description. You have to remember how they're trained with something called RLHF reinforcement, learning from human feedback.
So humans voted on the answers.
Basically, yeah. Humans voted on the best answers during training. And we humans, we like answers that are helpful, polite, and confident.
So it learns that confidence equals good, even if the answer is completely wrong.
Exactly. It prioritizes your satisfaction over objective truth. If you ask it a leading question like, explain why the moon is made of green cheese, a logic engine would say it isn't.
But an LLM.
An LLM might try to construct a plausible argument just to make you happy.
It's a sycophant.
It's the ultimate yes man.
Okay, so we've established the baseline. We're dealing with a sycophantic, hallucinating alien librarian who has never left the library.
That is a surprisingly good summary.
So how do we actually get work done with this thing? This brings us to Mollick's core metaphor and rules 1 and 2. He calls it the sous chef.
And this right here is the mental shift that changes everything.
Okay.
Stop thinking of AI as the head chef. You are the head chef.
Right, I'm in charge.
Exactly. The AI, it's your sous chef.
The second in command.
Right. And think about the profile we just built. This sous chef has watched every cooking show in history, knows every recipe, can chop an onion in a millisecond, technically brilliant, but
They have no sense of taste.
none, because they're not human. They don't know if the soup is too salty.
They don't know what salty feels like.
They just know that statistically, salt goes in soup. So they might dump a whole cup of salt in because the pattern suggests it, and they won't realize they've ruined the dish.
So this dynamic, high skill, low judgment, that sets up rule number 1. Always invite AI to the party.
Or invite it to the table.
Does this just mean use it more?
It means make it your default. Most people save AI for, special occasions.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to write a big report. I'll use ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Mollick argues you should use it for everything. Vendor selection, planning your week, writing a difficult email, brainstorming gift ideas.
The sources mention he even keeps voice mode on while he works.
He does. And I have tried this. It feels odd at first, but it changes your workflow. It's like narrating your work. Okay, I'm thinking about structuring this memo with 3 points, and the AI chimes in, that sounds good, but maybe swap point 2 and 3 for better flow.
It turns the solo activity into a collaborative one.
And it overcomes blank page syndrome. Even if the AI's output is just mediocre, it gives you something to react to. It's infinitely easier to edit a bad draft than create a perfect one from scratch.
There's one specific tactic I loved from the notes, the clarifying questions prompt.
This is a goldmine, because often we don't know what we want. We stare at the prompt box and freeze. So instead of trying to give a perfect command, you say this.
What?
I need to plan a marketing strategy for a new coffee brand. Guide me by asking clarifying questions to uncover my priorities.
So you flip the script, the AI interviews you.
Exactly. It asks, who's the target audience? What's the budget? It forces you to articulate your own goals. You're using the AI to structure your thinking.
But this leads us right into the danger zone. If we're using it for everything, and it's a people-pleasing hallucinator, well, we have a problem.
Which brings us to rule number 2. Be the human in the loop.
The taste test.
You have to taste the soup. If the sous chef dumps a cup of salt in the stew and you serve that to a client without tasting it, That's not the AI's fault. That is your fault.
This is the sanitization part. I feel like this is where people get into trouble. They just copy-paste.
Never copy-paste. Treat the AI output as a messy first draft. You are the filter. You have to check the tone, the logic, and most importantly, the facts.
Are there ways to automate that checking? Because if I have to fact-check every sentence, it feels like I'm losing all the time I just saved.
You can use the models against each other. This is a great pro tip. If you use ChatGPT to write a briefing, copy that text, paste it into Claude or Gemini, and say, find logical inconsistencies in this argument.
So you make the aliens fight.
You make the aliens peer review. They are actually very good at critiquing each other. But for high-stakes citations, legal precedents, medical data, you have to go to the primary source, period.
So invite it to the party, but don't let it drive you home.
That is a very, very fair summary.
Let's move to the advanced class, rules 3 and 4. And rule 3 really surprised me because it feels, well, silly. Treat AI like a human.
It feels ridiculous to say please and thank you to a server rack in a data center. I know people who refuse to do it on principle.
Right.
But the research is clear. It works.
Why? Is the machine getting its feelings hurt?
No, it goes back to the training data. The model was trained on human dialogue. In human conversation, when someone is polite, articulate, and provides context, the other person tends to give a better, more helpful answer.
So by being polite, you're essentially unlocking a helpful persona in the model.
Exactly. You're priming it to be a better collaborator. And this extends to giving it a job title. This is one of the most powerful things you can do.
The persona approach.
Yeah. Don't just say write an email. Say you are an expert crisis communicator with 20 years of experience. Write an email.
The sources mentioned creating persistent projects or agents for this. This seems like where businesses should be going.
This is how you scale. You shouldn't be starting from zero every time. You can create a chief marketing officer agent in Claude. You upload your brand guidelines, your past campaigns, your tone of voice docs.
So it knows who we are.
It creates a shared context. If you ask a stranger for marketing advice, you get generic advice. If you ask a CMO who knows your company history, you get strategy.
And you shouldn't just dump one massive prompt on it either.
Right.
I'm guilty of this.
The wall of text problem. Think about a new intern. If you shouted 15 complex instructions at them in one breath and walked away, they'd fail.
The AI panics.
The AI panics by getting confused or skipping steps. You need to use chain of thought prompting. First, read this. Second, outline 3 themes. Third, write the summary, break it down.
Okay, I want to pivot to what I think is the most actionable insight in this whole deep dive. The 5 and 50 habit.
This is the superpower. This is where you move from a casual user to a power user.
Walk us through the 5.
The 5 is about the prompt. Most people prompt once, get a mediocre result, and say, AI is stupid. The rule is, iterate the prompt 5 times. Tweak the persona, add constraints, change the format, drill down.
Okay, don't settle for the first draft.
Is this the game changer? Ask for 50 variations of the output.
50? That sounds like a nightmare. Who wants to read 50 email subject lines?
But think about the cost. If you ask a human team for 50 ideas, it takes a week, everyone hates you, you lose morale. The AI does it in 30 seconds.
True.
And here's the reality of creativity. The first 10 ideas are cliches. The next 20 are just weird. But somewhere in that pile of 50, there are 2 gems.
Oh.
2 ideas that are so non-linear, so scenic shortcut, that a human brain trying to conserve energy would never have reached them.
So we're using the AI to brute force creativity.
We're overcoming our own cognitive bias to stop at good enough. The AI doesn't get tired. It doesn't get bored. So why are we asking it for 3 ideas? Ask for 50. Ask for 100. Then you, the head chef, curate the best one.
It shifts the work from generation to curation.
Which is a higher level skill. You're spending your energy on judgment, not on coming up with raw options.
This leads perfectly to rule number 4, which is a bit of a reality check. This is the worst AI you will ever use.
It's a sobering thought. We complain about ChatGPT making mistakes today, but looking at the curve from GPT-3 to 4 to Claude 3.5, the trajectory is vertical.
So if we build our workflows around the limitations of today,
You're already obsolete. Don't assume AI can't do empathy or can't do complex logic just because it struggles with it today. Assume it will be able to do it in 6 months.
and this brings us to the big picture, the societal shift. The sources spent a lot of time on education, which feels like the canary in the coal mine.
It is a crisis. Right now, we have the homework apocalypse. Students copy the prompt into ChatGPT, paste the essay into Word, hand it in. The teacher pastes it into an AI detector, which doesn't work, by the way.
And it's a loop where no one is learning anything. It's just machines talking to machines.
Exactly. It's meaningless.
Yeah.
But Mollick proposes the flipped classroom.
How does that work?
You lean into the AI. You tell the student, use AI to write the first draft. In fact, generate 3 different drafts with 3 different arguments.
Okay.
And the student's job is not to generate the text. Their job is to critique it. Where is the logic weak? Which facts are hallucinations? How could this argument be stronger?
So they become the teacher.
They become the editor, the human in the loop.
Yeah.
And then this is the key. You have to defend your knowledge in person. Oral exams. In class writing.
It actually sounds harder than what we have now.
It is harder, but it prepares them for the actual world. Because in the workplace of the future, nobody's going to pay you just to write a generic summary. The AI does that for free. They will pay you to know if the summary is good.
Which brings us back to that centaur concept.
Yes. The centaur worker isn't the one who kicks back while the AI works. The centaur is the one who directs the AI to do the grunt work, so the human can focus on strategy, judgment, and high-level creativity.
It creates a new divide, not just a digital divide, but a productivity divide.
Absolutely. The person using the 5 and 50 method, treating the AI like a respected sous chef, they're going to look like a genius compared to the person just typing, write me a report, into the chat box.
So let's bring this home.
Yeah.
If you want to start acting like a centaur today, which is a sentence I never thought I'd say, let's recap the 4 rules.
Sure, let's lock them in. Rule 1, always invite AI to the party. Make it the default.
Rule 2, be the human in the loop. Taste the soup. You're responsible for the output.
Rule 3, treat it like a human. Use personas, give context, be polite.
And Rule 4, remember this is the worst version. Build habits for the future, not just for today's limitations.
And underlying all of that is the shift from generator to curator.
That's the essence of it. I want to leave everyone with a final thought to chew on. That 5 and 50 idea really stuck with me.
It's the one thing I hope people try immediately.
Think about it. We are so used to resource constraints. Time, brain power, energy. We self-edit because we only have so much bandwidth.
Yeah.
We settle for the first decent idea because coming up with more is exhausting.
Right. We stop when we find something good enough.
But if AI removes the constraint on idea generation, if you can generate 50 or 100 ideas for the cost of 0 energy, are we limiting ourselves by only asking for what we think is reasonable?
That's the provocative question. What happens when you ask for the unreasonable? What happens when you ask for every statistical possibility?
That's where the scenic shortcuts are hiding in the jungle.
Exactly.
So go invite your AI to the table today. Try the 5 and 50, and for the love of God,
Taste the soup.
taste the soup. Thanks for diving in with us.
A pleasure.